professional,
Okay.
as I would say, circa 2003 WCW under the wise direction of Vince Russo writing team.
That's fair. That's fair, Dan. Now listen, obviously this is the world we live in now. This is the COVID world of crazy mess ups with Wi-Fi, electronics. ESPN has fallen exactly to the same knife as the rest of us on death of Zoom and stuff like that. However, it's always beautiful to see you guys on Thursday.
Let's hit the reset on this.
You want to reset?
Hey,
Let's just do it over.
We got off to a bumpy start. Let's hit the reset.
Well, we can get off more than once.
Down for the Count with Brandon Medina and Dan Cialana.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Brandon Big Papi Medina. He must have stared at Medusa, not Medusa the wrestler, but Medusa the Greek goddess, because Brandon looks frozen there. James Pledger, are you seeing Brandon there?
Well, I see him, but he's not moving. He's not talking. He's not interacting. He's being very lazy on the show right now, and I don't appreciate what he's doing. Maybe he's going full heel on us, and maybe we need to get Paul Bearer to come voice for him, or John Heyman or something like that. But I don't know what's going on with Brandon Big Papi Medina, as he is frozen on my screen and not talking to us in the slightest.
All right. Well, I'm just going to have a beer and kind of hang out here. James Pledger in the gorilla position at ESPN San Antonio. You know, maybe Brandon Medina, maybe he was watching those old wrestling videos and he saw Stone Cold Steve Austin. So he said, I'm going to do my best impression of someone who's stone cold dead. So frozen there. Hopefully we get Brandon back very soon. We're trying our best here in terms of these COVID restrictions, trying to do the social distancing. And somebody, James Pledger, who is doing some unfortunate distancing from World Wrestling Entertainment, is a wrestler named Zelina Vega. Her real name is Thea Trinidad, and she was recently released from World Wrestling Entertainment, actually on Friday afternoon, or early Friday evening, shortly before SmackDown went on the air. And James Pledger, she got one of those dreaded press releases that said, "We wish you luck in your future endeavors." We know what that's like in radio, right? We work in an industry where every now and then, you'll just get a notice. Oh, by the way, your entire radio station, half the country of the company shutting down. Oops, be sure to leave as soon as possible. So that happened to Zelina Vega. Now, it looks like she may have actually asked for her release, though, Pledger, because she was in this ongoing fight with WWE. And I'm not sure if you're aware of this, Pledger, but WWE superstars, WWE wrestlers are considered independent contractors. Now, Pledger, when I say,
do they have no compete clauses?
Yeah,
like
that's what we're asking. So let's think about words here, just in general. Before we get into wrestling, when you think of the word independent, what comes to mind when you hear the word independent?
Someone that does something for themselves, is self-sufficient, self-reliant.
Yeah.
Do these sound like key buzzwords or corporate synergy type words that I've been using properly?
Corporate synergy is a buzzword. So what would you imagine? What kind of freedoms would you imagine in any arena, whether it be wrestling, any other sport, or acting, or just a corporate environment? What would you expect out of someone who is labeled an independent contractor? What kind of freedoms do you think they would have?
Well, if I'm an independent contractor, I would imagine as an independent contractor, I have the ability to move around as I see fit because I am working for myself for different companies.
Okay, so if I hired you, let's just say I was in charge here at ESPN San Antonio, and I said, James Pledger, you are an independent contractor. However, I'm going to tell you when to work, how to work, and you can't work for any other radio stations. And by the way, I'm going to give you a new name. It's going to be your character name. So I will own that. But if you think you're going to do some other work with your real name, I also own your real name. Would you feel like an independent contractor?
That doesn't sound like very much like an independent anything. That sounds
sa-
like I've signed a contract to be part of a corporation.
Exactly. And that's exactly how WWE unfortunately treats their wrestlers. They treat them as independent contractors. They don't treat them like employees. They
Hi,
say, hey,
Brandon.
you're independent, but you got to do what we say when we say it. And Zelina Vega, apparently the final straw with her contract status with WWE was that she started one of those OnlyFans accounts. And James Pledger, Brandon Big Papi Medina is here. We may have to investigate for corporate and for journalistic purposes, I should say, Zelina Vega's
It feels like
OnlyFans
something
accounts.
that needs some extra research into.
James Pledger, can you reach in that drawer and find the ESPN San Antonio credit card? And if you can just, don't say it on the radio because that'd be ridiculous. But if you can write down that 16-digit ESPN San Antonio credit card number so that Brandon Big Papi Medina here could start his OnlyFans account and go see what Zelina Vega's got going on there. Apparently WWE did not like that. Brandon, is this a bunch of crap or what? He's speechless.
And he's frozen again.
He's frozen. Brandon, man.
I mean,
Man,
you're really tying him up tonight. I mean,
we really are.
Everything you've asked him has left him speechless and befuddled.
I think so. He should just, Brandon, why don't you just call us? Call the damn radio station, 210-656-3776. Maybe we'll give you some wrestling tickets or something for being a great listener. Thank you very much, Brandon, for calling up.
Maybe, he's working on that OnlyFans account and, he's just having some cross modularization with his laptop. Maybe he's got Zelina Vega's OnlyFans account open and that is causing restrictions with his StreamYard feed here. I don't
know what it's like, Pledger. Brandon opened some browsers and about 80 pop-ups popped up and he's trying to close them all right now. There's things auto-playing and everything. Brandon, man, you need to investigate that OnlyFans account later on for Zelina Vega, Brandon, to figure out.
He's frozen again.
To figure out exactly if you're not watching right now on Facebook, the frozen look on Brandon Medina's face. He looks like
he's been doing an OnlyFans account.
He looks like he's deep in the investigation of the Zelina Vega OnlyFans.
So deep in the OnlyFans.
I need to take a screenshot of this. Excuse me.
Don't worry, this will be on Twitter at some point tonight at DFTC.
He looks like the sex
so
happy was a person. That's what he looks like.
He looks so incredibly happy right now. It's like it's his birthday and he just opened up like the toy he'd been wanting all year long.
So anyway, so oh my god. So Brandon. so Brandon.
Are you looking at that screenshot right now?
I can't. I need to regain my composure here. So let's get back to business here. So Pledgers. So Zelina Vega was released from WWE for starting an OnlyFans account. So now you're scaring me with your frozen face there, James Pledger. So, but on a serious note, if we can be serious here, is it right for WWE to call people independent contractors when they basically run their life?
Oh, absolutely not. Not if you're an independent contractor. That's the whole point of being an independent contractor, is having the freedoms to do certain things. If you're going to parse it as such, you should be allowed the freedoms that come with that. If you're going to sign them as what the rules of the WWE were entailing, you were actually signing someone to an actual contract, and they should be held to those standards if that's the case.
Now, and if you compare WWE, the way they own people, to, like, let's just say a company like AEW or NWA, they are companies, okay, all these wrestling companies know that they compete against each other, but they let their wrestlers do independent shows on the side if they can. So, for instance, if you work for AEW, your primary wrestling company will be AEW, but if they have no matches for you, you can still do independent shows on your own and make money on the side with, independent bookings where you can't do in WWE. Now, Brandon Big Papi Medina, it looks like he's back from from doing his research on the Zelina Vega OnlyFans. Okay.
He
Can
has
you hear
to
this
turn his
guy,
mic
Pledger?
on. I think he has to turn his mic on. It's Radio 101, Brandon. How long have you been doing this?
Okay,
No,
this
not
guy.
long enough, apparently.
This guy, Pledger. Okay, here's what we'll do, Pledger. How about we go to break?
Do we have to? This train wreck is actually extremely entertaining, especially if you're watching on Facebook Live, as it appears. Nope, he hasn't frozen yet. I don't think. Maybe.
Oh,
Yes,
now he just turned into an egg.
Now we got a Twitter egg just bullying us on StreamYard. That's
okay.
what
Here's the thing. If any of the ESPN managers are listening here, I think us actually being in studio together and risking COVID would be better than trying to do these Zoom meetings on the radio.
They've been working up until right now. I don't know what Brandon's been doing. Brandon, what are you doing?
The OnlyFans accounts are shutting down everything, guys.
And thank you for thinking about it for 20 seconds before you answered. You may want to do a speed test over there on your 1200 baud dial-up modem you got there from 1991. My God. Okay.
Have mail.
Yeah, I think you got, yeah. Okay. You need to hang up, Brandon, and reconnect to Prodigy, and then we can get things going here. So let's go ahead. Pledger, let's go ahead and take a break. We got Mike Mayer hopefully coming in. Maybe he'll have some kind of coherent stream going on here. Maybe he'll have some internet. Let's see if internet made it out to Southern California. I'm Dangerous Dan Cialana. He's Big Poppy Brandon Medina apparently out there. James Pledger running the gorilla position. This is Down for the Count, your ESPN San Antonio wrestling show on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at ESPNSA.com.
At Security Service Federal Credit Union, we believe there's nothing better than the feeling of home. After all, home is where we're together.
Hey, come on in.
Where we laugh. Where we celebrate. Home is where we always feel just right. Security Service works hard to get you the lowest rate and a monthly payment that's comfortable for you. Because we believe a home loan should feel just right, just like home. Save up to $5,000 on closing costs or lower your payments with a power rate. Get started with a free virtual appointment at ssfcu.org. Security Service for a home loan that feels like home.
Equal housing lender. Membership eligibility required. Loan subject to credit approval. Offer subject to change. Valid in Texas, Colorado, and Utah. Offer to save up to $5,000 does not cover certain costs. Not valid on FHA VA loans. Other restrictions apply. Visit ssfcu.org for details.
Total Wine & More is a wonderland to explore.
Filled with unexpected wine pairings to win your holiday dinner.
And so many spirits, from single barrel bourbons to Blanco tequilas.
And enough IPAs and stouts to delight the beer lover on your list.
Finding great gifts is easy with helpful guides like me.
And me.
And me.
We'll help make the holidays
even more magical.
With thousands of wines, spirits, and beers.
At always low prices.
Total Wine & More is your savings wonderland.
You have to be up in 5 hours, 2 hours, 6 minutes. And when you hear, you realize that you haven't slept a wink. That's why there's ZzzQuil Pure Z's, a drug-free blend of botanicals with an optimal dose of melatonin, so you can fall asleep naturally with no next-day grogginess. It's available in both liquid and gummies, tastes great, and is non-habit forming. Pick up ZzzQuil Pure Z's from the sleep experts at Vic ZzzQuil. ZzzQuil Pure Z's, naturally superior sleep. Available at retailers near you.
Slackers Sports and Arcade Park teams up with Jim Beam for Rock the Mic 2020. Visit Slackers North Star Mall location today for Jim Beam specials, freebies, food truck eats, and ESPN San Antonio's live stream with Rock the Mic 2020. Our winner will be announced. Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar now with 4 San Antonio area locations to serve you, including the newest member of the family, Slackers Medical Center, located at Fredericksburg and Medical Drive. A proud sponsor of Rock the Mic 2020, Slacker Sports and Arcade Bar.
After the year we've had, Diamonds Direct thinks she deserves something really special. So our annual pre-holiday store-wide sale is bigger and better and longer than ever. All this week, you get an extra 20% savings on virtually everything. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, and expanded selection from all our top designers. You save 20% and more. Special financing, too. It's happening now through Sunday. The last store-wide sale before Christmas with the best prices all year. Now through Sunday at Diamonds Direct.
At the shops at La Cantera. Is Drew McIntyre about to fall to the three most dangerous letters in all of sports entertainment? Here we go. For the RKO. Claymore! Claymore! Oh, we got him. Drew McIntyre has taken back the WWE title. Here's your winner. And the new WWE Champion, Drew McIntyre. An unbelievably heroic effort by Drew McIntyre to set out to achieve his goal of regaining the WWE Championship.
It is down for the count. Your ESPN San Antonio wrestling show. I'm Dangerous Dan Cialana, joined on Prodigy Dial-Up with my tag team partner, Brandon Big Papa Medina, James Pledger running the gorilla position. And we are very lucky right now to be joined all the way from sunny Southern California from the Off the Mic Wrestling Podcast, Mike Mayer. How you doing, man?
What's going on? I hear all this talk about internet issues, so I hope that this doesn't cause any more. Good to be with you guys.
Yeah, Brandon just kind of freezes every now and then because I don't know if you heard the last segment, but we were.
I was at backstage for like 5 minutes, and I didn't know what I was walking into here.
I'm sorry to hear that. You know, we were discussing the Zelina Vega OnlyFans, and Brandon froze because I think
seemed like an interesting time to freeze there.
I think he had 80 pop-ups up there, but okay, something's gonna pop up this Sunday. Survivor Series. I know everybody on screen right now and everybody listening right now is super pumped for the best ever of the wrestling pay-per-view, Survivor Series. Am I correct?
No.
I mean, this is. I mean, if you're talking about, they talk about the big four in terms of the pay-per-views. Survivor Series used to be a really big deal.
Yeah.
But I the last time I came on with you guys, I told you I am over this Raw versus SmackDown thing, and the build to this has been just disappointing because these teams aren't even filled out for the elimination matches. We still don't even know. And the build on the Raw side has been weird, where you've got the whole team doesn't like each other. You had another title change with Drew, which I like because they kind of actually, that's the one thing they invested in is Drew versus Roman. They planted the seed on SmackDown. They went through with the title change on Raw. So I'm looking forward to that match. Outside of that, like these maybe New Day and Street Profits is going to be interesting because they're kind of the mirror images of each other in terms of the tag team division. The rest of this is just like a whole bunch of meh. To me, that's it. It's just like, it goes to show you Survivor Series as a pay-per-view in terms of like Royal Rumble, SummerSlam, and WrestleMania. I mean, Taker is obviously the big part of this, is the selling point of this show, right? So, but in terms of the big four pay-per-views, Survivor Series has never really been for years like a must-watch event. And I don't know how you guys feel about this.
Now, Brandon, are you interested in seeing anything this Sunday at Survivor Series besides The Undertaker's supposedly final farewell?
Yeah, well, I gotta be careful. Obviously, seeing Zelina Vega's OnlyFans really ruined up my complete internet connection. All those wrestling OnlyFans ones, and also all the AEW streams are really starting to catch up to me, huh, Dan? So
all those illegal streams you're doing,
all that illegal stuff you're doing on your computer, man. That's with your internet.
Word to the wise people, always going in incognito mode, just so we're all clear. However,
how many songs from LimeWire do you have downloaded?
Listen, whenever we're talking about the big four, Royal Rumble is probably my favorite. You gotta agree.
Okay. Brandon goes out again. All right. Okay.
I see how that first segment went, and I could kind of get an idea of what's.
Yeah. What I said is, would you guys not agree Royal Rumble's the best of the top four?
I would say it's definitely Survivor Series is the worst. Whatever it is, it's the worst.
Yeah. Survivor Series is definitely. I mean, so in some cases, people don't even put Money in the Bank ahead of Survivor Series in a lot of cases. Like, wouldn't you agree, Dan? Like, Money in the Bank has seemingly mattered a lot more in the grand scheme of WWE and how they book with that briefcase has meant more. Like these elimination matches, like the Alliance and you look back at 2001 or like some of these great elimination matches, like the first Elimination Chamber was at a Survivor Series. Like the luster of this show is gone. And I think part of it is because they went to this Raw versus SmackDown format and made this like a bragging rights thing, and they keep changing rosters. So it's hard to get invested in like brand loyalty and brand supremacy, because it's like Braun Strowman and Sheamus were on SmackDown 2 months ago.
Right. And we had Drew McIntyre.
And Drew McIntyre, like Drew McIntyre wasn't the champion. And now all of a sudden he's the champion again. He shouldn't have lost it. If this was their end game to have him face Roman at Survivor Series the whole time, which I honestly, the way WWE planned stuff, I don't know what their plan was, but taking the title off of Drew just for the sake of, okay, let's give him another title reign, just didn't really make any sense. So a lot of stuff that's kind of questionable heading into Sunday.
All right, we'll try to get Brandon back from the OnlyFans world, but we got Mike Mayer from Off the Mic Wrestling Podcast. Now, Mike, do you think it was actually the plan the entire time to have Drew McIntyre regain the WWE Championship and face Roman Reigns? Because I don't think it was, because I don't think that WWE thinks more than 3 weeks ahead.
Well, that's actually a good point, because after I saw the interaction that they had on SmackDown, I honestly thought, hey, they've got a backup plan going in place, and maybe this is their WrestleMania match. And that's the way it felt. Like people, and I was interacting with people on Twitter and social media, and everybody was hyped up about this. Like, man, this is the biggest match they can do right now in-house, outside of the obvious like pipe dream or some. I don't know if it's a pipe dream, but having the obvious Rock versus Roman match, which clearly they want to do. I just don't know how feasible it is given the uncertainty with the pandemic. And obviously The Rock is one of the busiest human beings working today. So like, it's obviously Big E's been thrown in there, but I don't know what they're doing with him. So what it felt like on SmackDown was, hey, we're planting seeds for potentially something at WrestleMania. Whereas like just kind of getting out in front of it just in case, the plans that they want to have don't come to fruition.
Now, Mike, I'm old enough to remember when Survivor Series, all the matches were elimination matches, 4-on-4 matches. Those are real long matches, though, 40 minutes. And I don't think anybody these days in 2020 would sit through a bunch of elimination matches. And I also remember, I don't know if you remember, but they actually got to a point where Survivor Series, they weren't even really doing the elimination matches at all. And I think they actually need to go back to that, because it seems like maybe for nostalgia reasons or just Vince McMahon's stubbornness that we got to do the elimination matches. We got to do the brand versus brand. But like we always say, nobody cares about the brand split, especially these days when both Raw and SmackDown are on the same, they're in the same building. So it's like, they're not even traveling. These people stay in the same hotel every day. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, and like I said, the changes are an issue too, and it's like there isn't really a brand split, because like I said, they're not traveling. There isn't really anything. Like they try to play up this whole thing of like, oh, it's USA has the rights to Raw, and NBC Universal, they have the rights to Raw, and Fox has the rights to SmackDown, and they're trying to make it like this battle between television companies and just make it that. It's not that. And when you're changing these things up and obviously shorten rosters because a lot of people didn't want to work, didn't feel it was safe, there's just so many questions. And then you made this draft a month ago, I think, right? It was early October, late September. They made these roster changes, and some of these people who are filling out these rosters were on different brands a month ago. So this loyalty and this brand supremacy, like even in the previous years, they actually tried to play it up where they were invading each other. They're not even doing that this year. Like last year,
there's no one to invade because they all work at the same place.
They all work. Well, for one, they work in the same place, but for two, these people haven't had enough loyalty and haven't been on the same show for long enough to even care.
Right.
So it's just like you act like, okay, Sheamus and AJ Styles and Braun Strowman and Riddle, they were all on SmackDown a month ago. So it's like the loyalty that they have to Raw, it's like, okay. And I mean, but I'm with you. I think there needs to be some sort of stakes outside of the brand supremacy. Like a perfect example, Team Authority versus Team Cena. That was 6 years ago. One of the better matches, and it had stakes in it because it actually had you invested in the story that they were trying to tell, and that the Authority was going to be out of power or John Cena and his team were going to get fired. There was real stakes there. The invasion in 2001. Like those Survivor Series matches where you have a long invested story that you're trying to tell within the match and the stakes could have ramifications on the roster. That's what we're looking for. This is just filler. That's what it is. And that's what's frustrating about seeing this build, because this was formerly a really great pay-per-view. I think it's the second longest running pay-per-view that WWE has going outside of WrestleMania. So there's prestige to it, and obviously with The Undertaker involved. But yeah, it's just a whole bunch of meh, like I said.
Now, just a couple more minutes left here with Mike Mayer from the Off the Mic Wrestling Podcast. So this Sunday Survivor Series, we talked about how we don't really like the build-up, but is there any matches, Mike, that you see on the card for this Sunday that you're actually looking forward to?
To be honest with you, I'm looking forward to Drew versus Roman, because I think the match at Mania back in New York, WrestleMania 35, could have been a lot better. I think they kind of just wanted to ease Roman back in after coming back from leukemia. But that was an interesting build, and Drew, they kind of tried to make it. But now, like, the intensity that you saw on SmackDown, that got me hyped up. It's honestly the best match that they can do right now. They're doing it at Survivor Series. You know what? Had they not done Sasha and Asuka already, I would have been a lot more invested. It'll be a great match, but we saw it so much over the summer, and they beat it to death, where I'm like, okay, it'll be a great match, but I'm not necessarily like looking forward to that. And like I said, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing what happens with the New Day and the Street Profits, two of the most entertaining tag teams going right now, and guys who are very alike in just their styles in the ring and like just their personalities. I think the contrast of that is going to be really interesting. So, yeah, but at the top of my list would honestly be Drew Roman.
On Facebook, Christopher Lewis says Survivor Series used to be badass with the 4-on-4 eliminations. Then the final big match where it could be 6-4 or maybe worse. And the cool names the teams had. I remember that. I remember, like, you know, you'd have like the Hulkamaniacs or the Ultimate Warriors. I remember that from when I was a kid. So now you said they're kind of beating it to death. And speaking of beating it to death, we have someone on the phone here. Is this our tag team partner, Brandon Big Papi Medina?
Listen, I don't need these jokes thrown on me right now. All right, I'm ready for Friday. It is a tough Thursday. It is a tough Thursday indeed. I truly believe the Undertaker's playing mind games with me right now, messing up the internet connection over here.
The Undertaker. I mean, hey, he's based in Texas, man. So like, hey, that could kind of make some sense. He's just screwing with your Wi-Fi.
Yeah, maybe this is part of the storyline leading up to Survivor Series.
Well, this is awesome, Brandon. I'm glad to have you on the phone here. So hopefully both hands are on the phone. Everything will be okay. Since we got you here, since we only got a couple more minutes with Mike here, Brandon, is there any matches that you're looking forward to this Sunday for WWE Survivor Series?
Listen, before I get cut out again, I'm gonna make sure that you have one guess of that question right there. And if you've been listening to the show, you guess correct is absolutely not. I have 0 matches that I'm super excited for. I love Survivor Series, but I am not excited for this whatsoever. There's 0 matches I'm excited for. All of these are P breaks, as me and Dan like to say. All of these are nacho breaks. But because we pay for the service, the one service I do pay for, I will be watching Survivor Series, of course. But nothing stands out to me. What else am I going to do on a Sunday night? Oh, probably watch football as well. So I'll be flipping through those, but definitely going to be
pretty good Sunday night game going on. There's a pretty good Sunday night game going on, Raiders and Chiefs. So, I mean, that's counter programming by the NFL. So
I gotta see what they do with Taker, but really Roman and Drew is the only one that they're really building up to be exciting. I'm kind of over everything like you guys said. I definitely think Survivor Series used to have a lot of appeal, but that was because of the Taker comebacks and stuff. After this year, if this is truly the Undertaker's last year, I firmly believe Survivor Series does not make it to the top 4 pay-per-views of the year.
All right. Now, Mike Mayer, we got to let you go here. How can we find you online?
You can follow me on Twitter at OffTheMic28 and follow my podcast, the Off the Mic Wrestling Podcast, at OT Mike Wrestling.
All right, Mike Mayer, thank you very much for joining us on whatever we're doing tonight.
Why are we getting rid of the one with good internet?
Because I'm not going to ask him right on the air if he can stay for another segment. Other shows do that. It's very
Can you hold
very
through the break?
unprofessional. Yeah, Mike, can you hold through the break? I hate to do this to you. Or do you got to go? You have another
no,
show to do?
I got nothing to do. I'm happy to hang out. Yeah.
Wow. I love that. I love when someone publicly tells me I'll hang out with you longer because I got nothing to do.
What a guy.
What a guy. Okay, so we will stick with Mike Mayer on StreamYard, Brandon Big Papi Medina on the phone, James Pledger at the gorilla position. I don't even know where I am right now, but my name is Dangerous Dan Cialana. This is your Thursday night wrestling show, Down for the Count, on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at espnsa.com/wrestling.
The holidays are alive and well with farm fresh Christmas trees now at the Home Depot and online at homedepot.com. Choose from a variety of trees specially selected for your region. Pick one out from our tree line or get free delivery when you order online. Either way, you can't pick a better way to let the holidays begin. Holiday decorating improved. Farm fresh Christmas trees to pick up or delivered free from homedepot.com. How doers get more done. Selection and price vary by store. See store for details.
My name is Cade Courtney, and this is my new show, Can You Survive This Podcast? I'll be drawing on my years as a former Navy SEAL platoon commander, sniper, and CIA contractor. The show is designed to teach you techniques that will increase your chances of survival if you happen to find yourself or your family in any life-threatening disaster scenario imaginable. Subscribe and listen for free on Spotify. Can You Survive This Podcast?
This is for the men who never settle. The ones who refuse to let happy hour end without squeezing in one more round. The type of guys who would rather sweat from unspeakable places than stop eating the spiciest wings on the menu. And the men who still chuckle when they order their wings bone in. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Looking for a late night bite? Service industry employees receive 50% off handhelds and appetizers every day, 10 to close. Some exclusions apply.
A great meal starts with great meat. Rob and Jason here for Tri-County Meat Market, the best meat market in San Antonio. It's locally owned and full service. Tri-County has carefully selected certified prime Angus beef cuts, Wagyu, and upper choice.
Tri-County has everything you need to up your grilling game, from beef, chicken, pork, fajitas, poppers, and more. Stock up on their Pick 5 for $25. Tri-County Meat Market, 2 locations on Ralph Fair Road and on Huebner Road, and online at tricountymeat.com.
Distracted driving doesn't give second chances. To see her first steps, see him scoring the winning touchdown, marrying the one you love, or celebrating 25 years of joy.
I'm Thomas J. Henry. Today, distracted driving is the #1 cause of catastrophic auto collisions and the end of life's dreams. It's best to put the phone down until you arrive or pull off the road safely.
San Antonio, Texas.
It is Down for the Count, your ESPN San Antonio wrestling show. Pledger, let's hit the next clip. Let's hit it.
Thunder Rosa deserved better. She didn't deserve to be assaulted in the middle of a title match for the World Championship. That will not be easily forgotten, I would assume. Oh man, what a shot.
And Britt's out at ringside. How brazen can you get?
Did the doctor think there wouldn't be a house call on the other side? That this woman's going to forgive and forget this quickly?
And Thunder Rosa, just the referee corps coming to the ring trying to restrain Thunder Rosa, but she is laying in shots on Dr. Britt Baker.
Baker covering up, trying to protect herself. Gosh, Dr. Baker thinks she's the baddest bitch on the block.
Oh, watch it, they're not done. My God, look at this.
That was last night, AEW Dynamite. San Antonio girl Thunder Rosa was trying to get back her NXT, not NXT, NWA women's world championship from Serena Deeb, but through some interference by Dr. Britt Baker, she was not able to retain. So I'm not sure if you had a chance, Mike, to watch AEW last night, but what do you think of this idea, this whole kind of budding rivalry between former NWA Women's Champion Thunder Rosa and Dr. Britt Baker over at AEW?
I like this because there's been some question about where Thunder Rosa was going to end up. Like there were some rumors circulating that maybe WWE might pick her up, and there's just a lot of question about that. And like this NWA Women's World Championship match against Serena Deeb, who, by the way, having a great career resurgence. So that's really cool to see. Remember her from the days of the Straight Edge Society, man. So like, it's good to see her getting a chance to shine with that NWA title. But in terms of AEW, they need a shot in the arm in their women's division right now because look, I like Hikaru Shida and Nyla Rose is great too. The women's division it's just not good right now in AEW. It's the weakness of AEW right now. So what do if you want to put just light a fire underneath of it? You do something like this and put a big angle with Thunder Rosa, one of the most accomplished. I know she's in your guys' backyard, one of the most accomplished wrestlers right now, and seemingly going to be a budding free agent. Put him up against what seemingly is AEW's like number one outside of Hikaru Shida. Your number one, what they wanted to build the women's division around in Britt Baker. And they've been trying to make her a big deal for the longest time, the heel turn that she had and like passing notes to Tony Schiavone and then the injury. And then she had the weird match with Big Swole. So
yeah, at the dentist office.
At the dentist office. So look, if you're going to do something to like light a fire in this women's division, I really like this because it puts Britt on a pedestal. And you know what? It puts Thunder Rosa in a really interesting feud here because, like you said, you could really sense the animosity and the physicality. Like they just didn't like each other because there was stuff on Twitter. Like there's some real stuff here that maybe they could turn this into something that could really like move along this women's division that really, like I said, needs a kick in the arm.
Now, Mike Mayer from Off the Mic Wrestling Podcast. I don't know if you've ever been to San Antonio. And
I have not.
You have not. Okay,
Beautiful.
so you've never met a San Antonio Latina woman. All right. So Thunder Rosa is a San Antonio Latina, and Brandon Big Papi Medina, tag team partner, on the phone. You don't mess with those San Antonio Hispanic women. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I mean, look what happens when they start messing with your internet connection. You end up on the phone on ESPN San Antonio. So yeah, absolutely. They are the tried and true enigma of the San Antonio culture. We play hard, we work hard, but yeah, the San Antonio women of here, of course, definitely have that fighting spirit, which I think plays well into good old wrestling.
And the thing is, if you grow up in San Antonio, if you're a woman who grows up in San Antonio, now Thunder Rosa did not grow up in San Antonio, but she spent a lot of time here. Now, Brandon, that fight last night between Thunder Rosa and Dr. Britt Baker, that looks like a fight you can see pretty much any Friday night outside of Whataburger. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And I think I heard JR, did he call her the baddest bitch in town? Is that what I heard?
I think so. I think he said that Dr. Britt Baker thinks she's the baddest bitch in town. But yeah, you don't want to say that in front of Thunder Rosa because Thunder Rosa is a very confident person. So you know what? I'm still a little scared of her. A little scared of her a little bit.
Yeah. But I think you're going to get that same comment outside of a Whataburger at 2 a.m. when they're fighting as well. So very, very solid analogy there by Dan Cialana, professional as can be.
Well, I'll ask both of you. I'll ask Mike first. I do enjoy seeing the NWA Women's Championship being defended on AEW television and on pay-per-view. And I do enjoy seeing cooperation between NWA and AEW. But does that speak to the kind of the shallowness of the AEW women's roster that they have to bring in women from other organizations? What do you think, Mike?
I mean, you got a point there. And I hate knocking on like any division or anything in terms of like because these people, there's talented people obviously behind the scenes. I think Kenny Omega has a role in this women's division. And there's talented people there. Like they've had talented people in that division. It's just for whatever reason, it just hasn't worked yet. Like when Riho was champion, like it was interesting for a while, but it's like it wasn't like something that they seemed to really invest the fans in. Like everybody was seemingly invested in like the top level feuds with everything that was going on with the Elite or Chris Jericho or Jon Moxley. And they haven't really put the time in. It's I'll give you guys a comparison. It's kind of how WWE treats the tag team division, to be honest with you. It's basically what it is. It's just like they don't allow us to care enough and give us these stories that are even really remotely interesting. What sucks is like there's so much talent. So I think it's great that they have a relationship with NWA, but at the same time, you've got to invest in your stars so that way people can actually really care about that division, because Britt Baker's great and she's got a chance to be a star, but you've got to put more in there and give her more. And just like the rest of the division, it's just like, it's Hikaru Shida, it's Nyla Rose. I think Penelope Ford, but she isn't really even wrestling. She's with Kip Sabian as like the valet. And then you've got Miro with them too. So it's just like the women's division definitely needs some work. So who knows like what it means, but it's definitely not a good look to have another organization's champion wrestling on your show when you already have a women's world champion on that brand. So hopefully they fix it.
That's a good point. I want to ask Brandon here. Brandon, do you think that it diminishes or even confuses the kind of the prominence of the AEW Women's Championship for AEW to be bringing in the NXT Women's Championship and having that, or sorry, the NWA Women's Championship and having the NWA Women's Championship defended and being prominent on AEW television?
So I think that was definitely a loaded question right there, Dan. But yeah, I definitely do think it diminishes. I don't think it disrespects the champion, but I think it diminishes and confuses fans. That was the big thing. If you guys remember, back a year and a half ago when AEW had their first exciting announcement that they were going to become a company, the big questions was, what does this mean for Ring of Honor? What does this mean for New Japan Pro Wrestling? Coming from New Japan, the Kenny Omegas, the Chris Jerichos, and then the Ring of Honor, of course, you had the Young Bucks that were doing everything over there. You had constant Bullet Club affiliates over there. And so I think now that we have the NWA coinciding with, AEW, it definitely throws some confusion. I mean, if you were to see Kenny Omega pop up on NXT, you'd be like, what the hell is going on? Now, obviously, those are two major players, but I do think it confuses fans, and if anything, it can be looked at as disrespectful to Hikaru Shida, who I think might be one of the best female wrestlers on the planet and definitely the best in the business in AEW.
We confuse fans every Thursday night at 7 p.m. talking wrestling. I'm Dangerous Dan Cialana here with my tag team partner, Brandon Big Papi Medina. Mike Mayer from the Off the Mic podcast also joining us. We have James Pledger running the gorilla position. This is Down for the Count, your wrestling show on 1250 ESPN San Antonio, 94.5 FM, and on the go at espnsa.com/wrestling.
When you need an electrician, Hill Electric is available 24/7 for residential and commercial needs. If you're having to rework your office, let Hill Electric design your socially distanced space to ensure each workstation has the proper electrical needs. For over 35 years, the family-owned Hill Electric has served San Antonio. There is never a service charge and always free estimates. Call Hill Electric at 210-404-9074. That's 404-9074, or go to hill-electric.com.
Mother's Window Tint, your car stereo and auto security headquarters, announces you will save on really dark window tint. It's perfectly legal to have really, really dark window tint. Mother's has it all: light, medium, dark, metallized, color stable, scratch resistant, ceramic, and carbon fiber based films. Every tint is a custom fit tint at Mother's Window Tint. Save $100. Save on car alarms that will protect yourself and your family. 24/7 live vehicle monitoring. Remote start your car. Mother's alarm systems provide the features not found on factory alarms. Plus, Mother sells car stereos that will make your car go thump, thump, thump. Mother Thump. Save $100 since 1984. Service centers in Austin and San Antonio. Check us out on Facebook or our website, motherswindowtint.com. Remember, do it at Mother's and save.
Injuries happen. If you twist, pull, pump, or snap something, you need to know about the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. From a minor sprain to a compound fracture, TSAOG has got you covered. Not all injuries require surgery. Dr. David Espinosa treats all non-operative orthopedic injuries and concussion baseline testing. Telemedicine services are available through Ortho Connect. If you're hurting, go to the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics. Online, TSAOG.com. That's TSAOG.com.
Over the moonsault! Shirai connects! Shirai into the cover! Hook of the leg! And Shirai retains!
Here is your winner, and still the NXT Women's Champion, Io Shirai!
Hats off to both these women who just bet that, I hate to say it again, laid it on the line for the right to be called champion.
Great match from last night. NXT. Io Shirai defeats Rhea Ripley to retain the NXT Women's Championship. I'm Dangerous Dan Cialana here with my tag team partner, Brandon Big Papi Medina, on the phone, I think, because his Prodigy dial-up is down. We're also here joined by Mike Mayer from the Off the Mic Wrestling Podcast. And Mike, did you get a chance to watch this great match last night on NXT, Io Shirai versus Rhea Ripley?
Fantastic. It was fantastic. Like, it's the women's division in NXT, like we were talking about the AEW, and I'm not trying to knock the women's division in NXT is just insane. It's just insane. They brought Ember Moon back. You got Toni Storm now. Like, this match, like, two of the best in NXT. And Io is just operating, since she won the title, she is just operating on a different level than so many other, like, I mean, heck, you could put her on the main roster. I honestly would love to add Io Shirai to that match between Asuka and Sasha Banks on Sunday. I would kill to see that triple threat match. Like, I wish they were doing this, and they implemented NXT into this year, because there would be a lot of interesting scenarios that you would throw out there. Although seeing Leon Ruff potentially be in against the other world champions would be or the secondary champions, the U.S. champion and the Intercontinental champion, seeing that happen would be a little bit weird. That storyline's a little bit interesting, but I love this match. I mean, Rhea, I've honestly thought that she kind of got a little bit screwed this year in terms of having to defend the title against Charlotte. She didn't get it in front of a crowd. But she's handled herself really well. They've built her up pretty nicely through a couple of other secondary feuds. And this match with Io was just tremendous, like really well worked. And what I completely expected from these two. Like, it was really well done and just a great way to cap off a really good episode of NXT. And it didn't even end there. So it was a really great match.
Someone who may be handling himself right now, Brandon Big Papi Medina on the phone. Did you get a chance, Brandon, to see this match last night between Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley on NXT?
No, actually, guys, I did not get a chance to. I was focused on some other personal things with my fiance and the baby and stuff. However, I did see a little bit of it on little highlights here and there, then also on Twitter. I know Twitter was a buzz. And I think going back to, Mike's point a little bit about NXT not being involved in Survivor Series, do we know why? Is there like a reason why? I mean, because they were involved last year, correct?
They were.
Here's my thing. And I think part of the reason why it even happened last year was because of the move to USA. And they wanted to make it seem like NXT, okay, they're going to 2 hours, they're not taped anymore. They wanted to make it a bigger deal. But like, why not do it again? I don't get it. Like, it's because it's a hot brand. There's a lot of good wrestlers on that show. Heck, some of the people who are on the Raw and SmackDown teams were on the NXT team last year. So it's just like, take a look at your roster and just be like, these guys are gonna help build up your main roster. So I'm with you, Brandon. I don't get it. There's no real reason why, and I just don't understand.
Right, and I think also, you look at the NXT talent. Could it be, and I'm just saying, of course, guys, this is just hypothetical, could it be that the NXT talent is lower or below par of what we saw last year? Last year, you had the Shayna Baszlers, you had Leo Rush throwback right there that was in there as well. I'm going through, you had Undisputed Era, you had the Rhea Ripley's, Bianca Belairs, Candice LeRae, and Io Shirai's. that are still there, but that was a triple threat match for the 5-on-5 stuff. You had Adam Cole. All these people are still there, but could it be that without the Shayna Baszlers, without the excitement of, Keith Lee there? I mean, could it be that they're below expectations to jump to a pay-per-view like that?
It could be. It could be. Like you said, Brandon, maybe the WWE main roster looks at NXT and says, hey, you guys got a lot of rookies there. You guys got some work to do. That could be it. Or maybe here's a conspiracy theory. Here's a conspiracy theory built on absolutely nothing, but I'm going to put it out there anyway. So NXT behind the scenes obviously is run a lot differently than WWE. And it seems like being this tension. I'm not sure if Triple H is still ahead of things behind the scenes at NXT, but NXT seems to be trying their best to try to teach WWE how to do a good wrestling show. Maybe NXT brass behind the scenes is resisting this, saying, we don't want to be in Survivor Series because you're going to put us in some dumb match. We don't want our wrestlers, our talents, our brand to be associated with a pay-per-view that nobody cares about. That's my conspiracy theory. There's someone behind the scenes
interesting one.
protecting NXT.
And by extension of that, they don't want their talent to be exposed on a bigger level to a Vince McMahon so that Vince McMahon will want to call them up. And we've seen with these call-ups that have happened in the past, WWE has done a really poor job in building up some of the guys that they have called up. I mean, Keith Lee felt like for a minute they might do something with him, and he's kind of just a guy right now, and it sucks. I mean, Matt Riddle lost his first name. I still call him Matt Riddle, and they haven't really figured out what they were going to do with him. So maybe that's part of this. And like, okay, NXT, just kind of going by extension of what you were saying, Dan, is like they don't want to expose their good talent to the point where, hey, they might get pulled off their roster and they end up getting hurt on the main roster in the point where it's going to be hard to build them. Like, look at some of the people that they've brought up in this Retribution faction with Dijakovic and Mia Yim. Like, it's a lost cause. And it's like you would want something so much better for those people. You don't want them to end up in something like that. So I think that might be part of this too, in the fact that they just don't want their talent to move up to the roster or to be in a position where they get moved up to the roster, because they're in the best position for a lot of these guys is frankly on NXT. And I know WWE doesn't want to hear that, but it's true.
Yeah, we've even heard that there was rumors this week that Aleister Black, the real-life husband of Zelina Vega, who was released from WWE, apparently he says, I want to go back to NXT. We obviously see Finn Balor went back to NXT as the NXT champion. Ember Moon went back to NXT. And these days, going back to NXT doesn't have this same sort of like, oh, you got demoted type of thing. And you even look at somebody like Tommaso Ciampa, who says like, hey, I don't even want to go to the main roster. He says that publicly. So maybe a lot of people on NXT, backstage are kind of resisting, going, listen, let's make this actually the real brand split that people care about. Let's do like what they should have done when they bought WCW years ago. Actually have two different shows, two different brands, two different products, two different styles on TV, instead of just doing just kind of a generic, brand split or whatever. Brandon, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you were going back on that Zelina Vega OnlyFans. Now, Brandon, we only got a couple minutes left here, but did you know, Brandon? You weren't even alive back then. 1995, today in wrestling history, 1995, Bret Hart defeats Diesel at the 1995 Survivor Series. How old were you, Brandon, at the 1995 Survivor Series?
I was being thought of. I was born 96.
You were born 1996?
Yes, sir.
Oh, my God. So you don't even remember this. Mike Mayer, do you remember this 1995 Survivor Series?
I do. I've seen it on archive footage because I was only 6 years old when that happened. 1989, by the way. So I'm a youngin' too.
25.
I was 15 years old at the 1995 Survivor Series. Okay, what about this? Year 2000, November 19th, 2000, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Triple H ends in a no contest at the 2000 Survivor Series. You guys probably don't remember that either, do you? You were little kids, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel old now. Okay.
We're happy to make you feel old, Dan.
Thank you so much. All right, Mike.
If we only have a few more seconds, Dan, did you prefer Diesel or Kevin Nash in general?
Neither. I want neither of them. Off the Mic podcast, Mike Mayer, thank you very much for joining us. Tag team partner Brandon Big Pop and Medina, thank you for joining us on various platforms, including Phone, Prodigy, Care, Pigeon, whatever you did. James Pledger running the Gorilla Position. Thank you so much for doing that for us. We got through this. And you can join us not for a couple weeks because we're going to be off for Thanksgiving. Maybe fired. I don't know. It's Down for the Count. Go to our podcast, Twitter at DFC. I don't know. Who cares? Find us online. I love you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Follow Down for the Count on Twitter at DFTC Podcast.